And so this became the kind of the way that I was raised and all of the things that happened. And remember what I said was that you're a product of your experiences. Now, all of us know that from time to time, people have different reactions to experiences. You can hear the governor talks about, you know, he was poor and grew up on the south side of Chicago, came up on the rough side, you know, the mountain. It was hard, but he trudged on, and he ended up going to this great school, and he became the governor, and life was grand for him. Not so much for me. Okay, I didn't have it that way. I was really a very, very sensitive child. Now, my family will probably dispute that because they like to think that I'm not sensitive, but I personally think I am. I just don't show it to them as much. So I really was sensitive, and that meant that every little injustice was like a punch. And I didn't understand when they say roll with the punches, what that really meant. You see, the thing is that if you understand rolling with the punches, as they punch you and you're rolling, it doesn't hurt as much. So one has to learn to roll with the punches, but I didn't know how to do that yet. I stood there and I kept getting knocked down, and I kept getting knocked down, but I would always get back up. I'd always get back up. And I knew that there was something, you know, stupid about me, because there's no way I should just get back up again. One day I thought maybe I should just stay down there and it will be over. I spent a lot of times on the dark side as a result of that. Going through high school, and in high school, you know, you have to remember again, this is Pittsfield and I'm the only black person in the school. There's a couple of others, but what happens is it comes prom time, right? Now, think about this. We're now in our 70s, 1970s, and it's prom time, and guess who's not going to be going to the prom? Right? We know there's going to be one little black girl sitting home that evening not going to the prom. So mom decides that, you know, my brother has this nice little friend, good-looking, blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, just the perfect kind of thing for her daughter. Make her feel proud. So she is willing to pay him to take me to the prom. You want to add insult to injury. Okay? Needless to say, I would not go with a prom date who was a gigolo. I decided I had standards. If I couldn't be going with somebody who wanted to go with me, I would sit home and protest. Okay, that lasted for about that long, because I realized I was missing the party, but it didn't matter. It really mattered more that I kept at least my false sense of integrity, because I really wanted to go to the prom and I really wanted to be part of it, but it just wasn't meant to be. And that also became another lesson to me, is that a lot of times things just aren't meant to be. And you're going to have to decide how you respond to things that don't happen according to plan. Now, I also have to mention, I don't think I really ever had a plan. I think in hindsight, the plan was just staying alive long enough for the world to change, and so that I could fit in it. And so that really became what I am looking back now as what my biggest strength is that I came to believe that life should be fair. It should be, everybody should have an equal shot at life. Everybody should have the same rights as everybody else. People shouldn't be treated differently because they were born differently. That in fact, everybody should be given a fair shot, and then let the merits of their work speak for itself. And that's what I believe needed to happen. So part of me is all about, you know, we've got to make life fair, and I realized that I have to be a change agent. That's what I learned when I went back, is that my need for life to be fair has driven all of the things that I think about how we do things. The other side is that, you know, I spent a lot of time being bullied. So I have a very strong sense of compassion. My husband told me that. Actually, I didn't really know that I was compassionate. But he told me that that's what he loved about me, so I believe it must be true, because there's not much else to love. So part of what I realized was that I was very compassionate, and that anything that happened to somebody, I would feel like tenfold. So if it wasn't even bad for you, it was worse for me. You know, and it didn't go the opposite way. But so I really began to realize that compassion was important, and what mattered to other people mattered to me. And I wanted that to be kind of my life's work. But I didn't get there all that quick. I had to go through a lot of other bumps and bruises, and along the way, I had quite a few of them. I had decided that I would leave home and go to college. And it didn't really work out that way because I really wasn't college material at the time. So I decided I'd go to California and then maybe eventually get to college, right? So I'd have a little bit of fun. So I went to California, and the goal of really going to California was twofold. It was to actually find out what it was like to be black. I know that's, you know, but keep in mind the context here. So I wanted to go and be black. Now the problem with this is that I too have been indoctrinated with the stereotypes of what black people are all about. That's a problem. One, I cannot dance. I have 2 left feet. I have no rhythm. Now, that's a problem if you want to be black in California, where the place to go to meet young men is at the clubs where they all dance, right? And more importantly, I can't sing either. So there's no stereotype here that works for me at all. I can't sing, I can't dance. My family says that's, you know, a gift from my grandmother. But you know, it's okay. So I remember going into this club, and there's a sea of black faces, and I feel like I'm in my element. I finally arrived, and this is my day. And I see these people dancing in ways that I didn't even know your body could do those things. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll just sit here and suck it all up. I'll take it in, and I'll just, you know, it'll be nice. I'm around some people of color, and this is a good thing. Well, that was until this young man came up to ask me to dance. Now, I'm from the East Coast, and we smile at everybody no matter what we say, right? Because there's that politeness that goes on. We have that we're always smiling, even when we say no, go away, screw you, yes. You know, there's that constant thing going on. Well, so he asked me to dance, and I smiled and shook my head and said, no, thank you. And I thought that was a good thing. I was polite, you know. And so he stood in front of me. And at first, I didn't get it. But then these other guys, and I'm going to call them, they were brothers, and I'm excited. They're walking up, and I see him walking over toward me, and he steps in the way, and he says, she didn't dancing. I'm like, did I just hear what I thought I heard? He told people that I wasn't dancing? And so this happened for quite a while, and he just, look, she's not going to dance with me, she's not dancing with me because she said she wasn't dancing, so I'm going to help her out and make sure nobody gets in her. I thought how chivalrous was that he would actually do that. No, okay, really, I didn't, you know, at least I wanted to be asked. You know, it makes the ego feel good. So finally, he turns to me and he says, look it, honey, if you're waiting for Billy D. Williams to come into this place, he's not coming. So if you want to dance, you're going to have to dance with me. I smiled, I shook my head, and I said, no, thank you. And then I realized after going to this club for a few times that, you know, if you just mirror people, right, they're dancing and whatever they're doing, you just do what they're doing, right? And those are days where they were doing all this stuff, you know, and you got to get all these things. And it wasn't easy dancing, but I figured I'm not that, you know, I got to have a little bit of rhythm. I could kind of do some of these things. And so I decided that I would get out on that dance floor and, you know, try it out. Problem is that when you mirror people, you are one beat behind. Yeah, okay, now, it's no disrespect, not trying to be off color, but, you know, black folks can dance, and, you know, you don't want to get out there being the only one that can't dance. I couldn't dance. So much so that there was this young man, and I was in love with this guy. He was a football player, NFL ball, fine as he could be. Loved me just madly. I love this guy. And he asked me to dance. I'm going to dance. And I remember that beat behind me. I'm still going to dance, and I'm going to smile, and he's just going to forget that I can't dance. We got on that dance floor, and we started dancing. I'm smiling like the world. This is it. Nirvana is here. And I'm just dancing away, doing my thing, the Charlie Brown, whatever everybody's doing, and I'm having a good old time dancing. He took one look at me. After a while, he said, girl, you can't dance, and walked off the dance floor. I was like, oh, God, this thing is getting ugly. I mean, it was just no matter what I did to try to fit in, it just wasn't working. I realized very quickly that I really do dance to the beat of my own drummer. And I got to be okay with that, and I really do. And so I began the recognition that really, no matter where I was, wherever I went, there I was. In AA, I guess they have this saying that says, wherever you go, there you are. And the whole concept is that you can't just move to a new environment and think things are going to change. You have to change. You have to adapt, and you have to make things different. You can't just expect that a different environment will create a different change and that you'll get to where you want to go. So it's about hard work, and you have to actually look inside. And so I had to begin at this point really to think about who I was, where I was, you know, and what I wanted in life, because everything that I tried just didn't seem to meld in the way that I thought that it should. I really thought I was entitled to have this great life, and it just wasn't seeming to work out that way. And so I needed some help. And I did. I decided I'm going to get in a car accident, because that's always a good way to get help. And so on my 25th, the day after my 25th birthday, I was in a car accident. Now, you know, they say that there's no such thing as an accident, and I truly believe this is the case, because I did get in this accident, but what it brought me to was I had to go to a therapist for my back. I actually got whiplash. I don't know if those of you who know, I always thought that was just something they made up to get a lot of money. It actually really is real. And it's very painful. And so I went to they do the little massage thing. They sent me to the massage therapist and everything, and try to heal the neck. And it wasn't healing, and it couldn't heal. And finally, the doctor said, look, he says, you're going to need to go see somebody else. I can't help you until you can relax. Oh, wow. This is a problem, because I've never relaxed I've been anxious my whole life. And I'm 25, so like a quarter of a century I've been doing this stuff. And now you want me to relax just like on a, snap, and then we can fix this thing? We can't. And so he said, I want you to go see this therapist, and this is the actual real therapist for up here. And, I was a little bit concerned about that because, well, my grandfather's Bible talked about where a lot of the family members were in the South, and they were usually in mental institutions. So I thought, probably don't want to go somewhere where somebody's going to finally find out that I am crazy after all, because I just couldn't handle that right now. This is the last straw, and I'm on my last really leg, and I don't think I can go there. But I went anyways, and I came to find out a lot of things about me. Again, and it goes back to the product of my experiences and all of the things that I had to endure in my life. And I realized that it wasn't really as much about me as I thought it was. It was more about the way I responded to the things that happened to me, and not so much what happened to me. And so I began this journey of self-exploration and trying to figure out and put back together this broken child, because this broken child needed to heal. Otherwise, I was never going to be able to get to where I wanted to go. Mind you, I didn't know where I wanted to go, but I knew it wasn't where I was, and so that's all that mattered at the time. So I decided that I would take a lot of time off, and I would really get to know myself and really spend some time reading and experiencing things as I think that they should be. So all these self-help, in California, there's not a book you can't find about self-help and being skinny. They got them everywhere, on every newsstand, everywhere you go, you can get some self, and they're all out there. So Tony Robbins and all those things. And I began to read all these self-help books and try to figure out who I was, and did all these things, and in the interim, I'm working and I'm getting a job. Life is good, for the most part. And actually, I had some really cool meds, which, I wouldn't say publicly too often, but they were. I'm heavy now, but these meds, they were called antidepressants, so they should tell you I must have been depressed. I kind of figured it out, but the doctor actually said, look, if you take these pills, everything will change. And I thought, nothing's changing. I'm still the same person I am, although I kept getting thinner and thinner. And one day I said, it must be something with my pants, because they keep falling down. And what it was is that I was actually becoming happy, and so I wasn't eating out of sadness, right? Because we eat when things don't go well. And so I didn't need to eat anymore, and I got real thin, and that was a whole other chapter. And, because I'm young back then. And so now I'm thin and I'm young. I got myself a haircut, painted my nails, put some pumps on, and went to town. If we're going to change, we're going to change all the way. I mean, no sense of leaving no stone unturned. I went for the gusto. And, so I had my fun. But let me tell you about some other things that I realized. It's just that there were some things about me that I actually had inherited from my father. Besides the drinking, there were other things, and I do want to say that. Is that I realized that I was extremely creative. And I knew this by way of my first, I wanted this new job. And remember, I haven't really gone to college, so I have no real skills. I didn't even learn how to type, because there was this little cute boy in my typing class in high school that I spent more time looking at than the keys on the typewriter. So I have really no marketable skills whatsoever, and I am in a very, very expensive community. And so there's this job available, and back then, if you don't have a resume, you fill out an application. Anybody ever fill out an application before? There's a piece on there that says salary desired. What the hell? I'll tell them what I really want, $1 million. Because, if you're asking me what I desire $1 million. What am I going to put, $20,000? I don't desire $20,000, I desire $1 million. So on the application, I don't know why, I wrote $1 million. I filled the rest out the way it was supposed to be filled out. And the woman, after I give it to her, she comes back to me and she says, excuse me, ma'am, she says, I think you made a mistake. And I said, oh, really? I'm thinking, she doesn't know me. How would she know that I could possibly? She says, right here, you put $1 million. And I said, oh, no, that's not a mistake. See where it says salary desired? That's what I desire. And she looked at me. I said, well, you asked me what I wanted, not what I was willing to work for. Right? And because those are two different things. I met everybody in the company that day. I was hired on the spot. It was incredible. I'm like, wow, this creativity thing really works. And so I realized that creativity is a good thing. And I knew that because my father had done some things that were extremely creative, and I think I got that from him, I'm sure of it.